So hello and welcome to the second of two sessions of Threadbare, which is a stitchpunk RPG, and a very striking one. It is based on Apocalypse World. It's powered by the Apocalypse game. It is written by Stephanie Bryant, available on DriveThruRPG. You can get a printed or a digital copy there. It's a very cool game. Besides having sort of the game text in there, there's a lot of talk about crafts in there, actually, about how you craft, objects for the game and so on. Now, luckily, I have this bizarre panoply of things beside me that I didn't have to handcraft. Some I handcrafted when I was a child that I have next to me. So you may get to see one of those tonight. And we'll be playing on with that. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. That is part of an online community. We have 160 plus sessions on the calendar in January, which is crazy, which is absolutely crazy. If you want to find out about that or check out our blog or our podcast or zine, you can see all about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. We have my channel that records videos. The Gauntlet channel itself has videos. There's a weekly roundup of ours on the blog. So it's lots of cool stuff if you like AP videos. Our characters, our heroes, are in the middle of a crisis. They were on the road last time. They were traveling, attempting to get valuable stuffing to Circus Town. Riding in the machine which is a little fragile, I would say. I think that's the really distinguishing feature of it. It's a convoy. And last time they headed out through the Badlands, and they were worried because there was a storm coming, one of these wild storms racing towards them. They had to avoid some floods. They had some trouble with that. They headed off. And they could hear the sounds of one of Mayor Murder Baby's rocking horsemen of the apocalypse following them, the creak of that. And they found themselves off in a direction they maybe hadn't planned on going, further away from Circus Town than they had hoped. And even as they caught sight of pursuers, they saw a location in the distance, some lights. They followed it and found an old human structure with a kind of a gate outside of it. They were greeted by the gatekeeper, who spoke with them briefly, and eventually was convinced, I believe, by Bongo to let them in, and opened the gate, and they went inside. Now, before I go too much further on my restatement, because what happens after they go inside is somewhat sinister, I want to have our characters, our cast, our ensemble, introduce themselves briefly. So I'm going to work my way across our character sheet here. We've got Gauntlet Hangouts. We often use these Google spreadsheets, and that's what we're using today. So I'm going to start with the crew of the Seabrick. Please give us the 30-second pitch on who you are in your current state.
All right, so the crew of the Seabrick is a group of Lego Vikings led by the captain Sven. We also have Olaf, Halfdan, Harold, Thorbjorn, Thorfinn, Thorgrim, Skalgrim, and Knut, as well as Thorvald, who was tragically melted into a single piece in an accident earlier in our story.
And your special thing, besides the stuff of your mecha, is that you can take damage on a part to gain information, right?
Yes.
Okay. That is awesome. And do you have stuff right now?
I do not.
You do not have stuff right now. Okay. Just checking. Let's come to our second character, the other mecha of the group. Please tell us about Pillar.
Pillar is a transforming bulldozer. Prefers to be in his bulldozer forms, feeling some of the creak and wear of the years. Definitely has seen some toys with bad intent over time. Is concerned about the flying transforming bots. Is traveling along to get this mission done and keeping an eye out for things. Is just a little creeped out right now. Is definitely scarred from his time around. It's got bits and pieces here and there, including one strut that's where he gets his name from that says Pillar. That's not in the original green of the rest of them.
Absolutely. And we talked about the fact that you have that sort of painful transformation between your states. And your big special thing is that you can take damage to disguise yourself, right? Okay, that's good to remember. Which brings us to the Philosophers Guild, which is currently slightly split, as I recall. So please tell us about the Philosopher Guild.
So the Philosophers Guild is a group of small finger puppets. They're the sock playbook. And there's a number of them. I've named them all. But in general, there's animals, which is the owl, who's the leader, and the deer. And then there's the great thinkers like Tolstoy or Dickens or Virginia Woolf or Plato or something like that. And they each kind of have their own little role.
And your thing is taking damage to generate hold that you can use to establish a minor fact about someone you just met. And that's anytime you take damage, you always get that hold. So that is awesome. Which finally brings us to the sweet talker, sweet Bongo. Please tell us about Bongo the Clown.
Bongo the Clown has been around for a time. So Bongo still bears the memory of his owner with a tattoo that says Betty loves Bongo. Right now, he's just sort of a little bit uncertain of what his purpose in this world is without an owner.
And your use of hold is to apply real-world logic or science to solve a problem. Because
right.
Otherwise, it's sort of toy cartoon logic that governs this world. So the group entered through the gate and found themselves in what was, we can read as some sort of shop with aisles, great stack boxes and things like that, and quiet. They saw figures moving inside of some places, but definitely there was an ominous sense. They were greeted by a one-armed figure who was somewhat stretched and out of sorts otherwise, who offered to provide them with refuge, a place to stay for the night, a place to park their vehicles from their convoy. And this figure certainly looked appraisingly at both our Vikings and Pillar. Both of them seemed to strike his fancy, and certainly after he turned you in for the night, he headed suspiciously off. The group had some trepidation about the situation, and so at that point, I believe it was the Fox that went out to investigate the situation, and went along down these dark aisles, these canyons, saw some places where they were doing repairs and things like that for Legos cleanups and things. And but as they got towards the end of the sort of big main causeway of the place, saw this enormous toy aircraft carrier that seems to be the center point of this. There's another building a little bit past that, but then was also able to see in the light all of these boxes on the walls, some of them hanging from hooks, some of them just stacked with these toys in boxes and essentially imprisoned in them, kept mint and pristine and held away in some sort of great imprisoning collection. And then the fox fell back and was caught by someone. At the meantime, the group back at the lodgings certainly put up a watch, and I believe after a bit, a member of the Seabrick, one of the Thors, if I recall correctly, spotted some movement outside and went to confront it rather than waiting and alerting the others. And it was at that point that he saw that there were a large group kind of coming in, moving and kind of closing a noose around the place that was made up of figures with these clicking circular bases, that sound coming in the distance there as they approached. And our brave Thor did get them to hesitate, but then fell back to the group. And they were gathering themselves together. And I believe our last scene was essentially the hood being pulled off from our fox friend, as a voice explained the situation, that in fact they were in danger, that they were collecting figures, making them mint, making them pristine, locking them away, and then they were doing that because the people here are in fact the cliques and others. So the clique of the cliques are game pieces, and then the figure revealed itself to the fox and spoke. And though again shares a circular base, is not one of them, and seems to be on your side. Maybe we'll figure that out. And that is where we're taking up tonight. Did I forget anything really important? Okay, so let's cut to the group in the lodgings. Thor has brought back news of this large group encircling the lodgings. What do you want to do? Bongo?
Oh, well, if they're game pieces like you suggest, I don't know if they're going to be willing to listen to reason.
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly how we would talk to them, and we're fairly closed in.
Tolstoy says, at least the Tolstoy finger puppet says, well, at least the fox didn't get caught with us.
Well,
but wait, if they're game pieces always have to obey the game rules, right? So we could challenge them to a game, and if we beat them, they would have to let us go, right? That's how games work.
Makes sense to me. What are we playing?
You are brilliant.
Yeah. What should we...
Do we ask them what game to play, or do we challenge them? I mean, I'm not sure about that kind of game.
Game options would be something like maybe hide and go seek, or tic-tac-toe. Does anyone have a game that they're particularly good at?
The knock on the door.
When I play games, I usually cheat. I don't know if I'm the best to ask.
You might be the best of us all.
Well, yeah, let me take your notes. That's the only game I know.
Games I know involve lifting things and moving things as fast or as heavy as possible. So,
I think the Nietzsche finger puppet goes over to the door and looks at everyone else. Should we open the door? He kind of reaches up and starts to open the door.
And it's a fairly tall door because you had to get Pillar and a Bongo in here, so it is sized to them. You open it up, and you will see this figure, and it has like all of these like weapons strapped onto it and attached, and there are all these belts and things like that, and it's got these fang-like figures. Fang-like teeth jutting out this jaw. And it's got this beret on, and it looks like weirdly high tech. Yet it's very clearly an orc, and it says, "You and your companions have been summoned."
To whom do we owe this pleasurable invitation?
Looks at you, squints. His eyes are kind of in a squinty thing, but he squints him even more. You don't even know how he's managing to do this squint so much. And he says, "Our leader will explain."
Last chance for a game, fellas.
Well, let's see what the leader has to say first, because that's probably who we would challenge to the game, right?
makes sense at this time.
Alright.
Let's
Play
go.
games?
He says, "You will come with us. We will speak of games later."
Well, take us to your leader.
Yes, we will. Walk this way. And he'll rolls on his base and turns around and begins moving along away, and expects you to follow. You're not sure if he has a sense of how many of you there are or what, but who is going, who is following?
I don't know about you folks, but I feel pretty good about this.
I feel better about going than staying.
I think that are going to have Gulgrim and Canute are going to kind of hide out, and the rest of us will come along.
Okay.
And I think that I'll have a couple of the finger puppets also stay. Probably Tolstoy, maybe Dickens.
Okay. And we will come outside, and you will see this fairly large collective of these cliques that are around. There are more than just cliques here. There are other figures, all of them with these bases that they're attached to. Some of them look like giant monsters. Some of them look like maybe hobbits of a odd size. There are a variety of them, and this Shadowrun action figure game toy will move you along, and waits until you all get out and begins to kind of march you up down that main aisle. Let me cut briefly to the fox, and then I'm going to come back to the group, and we'll see what anybody is doing. So Isabel has explained the situation to you, Fox.
I have to inform the others right away.
She goes, so the problem is that your friends are already being taken to see him. These are dangerous times for all of us. the game pieces, they believe that they are superior.
Well, we will show them differently. However, we must get back to the group. Gather your forces and show me where they have been taken.
Well, which one do you want me to do?
Tell me where they have been taken, and I will find my way there, and then gather your forces and follow.
Because I don't know how much we have in the way of forces, but I will try. There's merely us of the amiibos, and then the knockoffs that work in the pits. But I don't know if I can rally them in time.
See if anyone was left behind, and maybe see if any of my group was left behind, and maybe they can help you rally.
Okay. She'll go, they will be leading them to see him at the palace behind the great and mighty ship.
And who is him?
I dare not speak his name.
You must tell me what to expect. Otherwise, we may have no hope.
I can only tell you this. He will want to be your friend.
But it is a trick.
Oh, yes.
I see. Okay.
He flips his mood at and she will head off, clearly not wishing to speak any further of this. You'll see, there are a group of other of these amiibos kind of collectively standing around and waiting, and they huddle with her, and then they take off. And Fox, you'll head out. Let's cut to the group being led along. You will see some of the workshops. You'll see some of the Lego repair stations and things like that. And lots of beautiful parts here and clean things and so on. And Captain, you will see a box that you recognize there that has clearly been brought down to the Lego station.
Is it the box for my ship?
You see that ship. You see the picture of your crew on the front of it, smiling, looking off at the photoshopped sea behind.
So I'm gonna kind of tug on the arm of the orc that's leading us, and I kind of pointed, "Where did you get that?"
We had that for a while. We've been waiting for someone like you.
That's my ship.
Yes. Yes, it is. Sorry. Yes, sure. We'll go on. Yeah. No, nothing to worry about. No need to fear. Nothing sinister here. Let's go.
I think all the Vikings are talking among themselves, like, "It's our ship! It's our ship!"
And Pillar, you definitely note the absence of any other transformer like yourselves. And you can see as you get down this main aisleway that they've clearly shut off some of the lights to maybe obscure the walls. And you can see that in front of the aircraft carrier, there is a figure with its back to you. You can see it's got a hood up and a cape on. It's fairly tall, probably about maybe as tall as you, Bongo, maybe a little bit taller. And as the clicks move you forward, they are in this muttering amongst them. And you will hear, "Hello, friends. What's your name?"
Is it the figure still has its back to us?
Yes.
Oh, lovely to meet another friend. I'm Bongo.
Bongo. Your name is Bongo. And who are the others with you today?
Revving my engine slightly and then saying, "I'm Pillar."
Mm.
And the owl finger puppet kind of gets up to the front of the group and says, "We are the Philosopher's Guild."
And I understand that there are some of the Lego among you.
Yes, you're the crew of the Seabrick, which you seem to have here.
And you will see this figure turns around, and it will push back this hood, and you will see this tall softy still in kind of the dark cloak, and this bear's head on it, and you can hear this whir, and it says, "I am the leader of the collection. I am Teddy Ruxputin." You've asked for sanctuary amongst us.
Yeah, a temporary respite, if you would. Sure, certainly. And your hospitality's been all but too kind.
Absolutely. Now, it would make us so happy if we could make new friends from you.
Well, I love to make a new friend, of course, but I would also hate to outstay our welcome. You know what they say about house guests.
You should treat them well.
At the very least.
That's so funny. So, what would be really good for all of us is if the Lego and you, my fine transforming friend, could remain here with us. We will see to it that you have everything you need and you are returned to your original mint pristine condition.
I'm looking to see how twitchy the Vikings are.
They're a little twitchy.
May I ask, we're on a somewhat important mission. How long do you think that this process would delay us?
Oh, well, I thought that the rest of you could go on and these friends could stay with us forever and ever.
Oh, and ever?
That too.
Oh my.
Bongo, what are you thinking here?
So we've been talking about this game proposal,
Okay.
and I'm thinking back to the games that I used to play with Betty, right? And when she wanted to get her way with her siblings, she would play this game called House. And she was the mommy, and you had to do what she said. So I'm trying to extrapolate those rules into a way where we can play House with Teddy.
Interesting. I like that. Do you think we want to think it through?
Yeah, because because this doesn't exactly sound like play a game, because
Right, you got to
not
figure
so
out
much
the
a
game
win.
first.
Right. Oh yeah, let's think it through.
So let's have you think that through.
I love moves like this. Okay. A fact about a problem or mystery. So I have to tell you a fact first and then roll.
Yeah, tell me something about the rules here.
So, man, can anyone help me out and think of a fact that we could propose that could help us to impose our will on Teddy enough to put ourselves in an advantageous position?
Well, he's already described us as guests. We said we were going to stay the night. So if he's a good host and thus a good parent to all the other kids, the cliques, then he has to let us go in the morning so we can come back to play later. It's the best I've got. Continue the game of we asked to stay the night. We're doing a sleepover.
Oh. So you want to call on the sleepover? The rules of guest host sleepover rules?
Yeah, okay. So let's extrapolate this a bit further. So we're going to invoke the law of sleepovers, right? So I'm trying to think, like, what is it about a sleepover that is beneficial to us? We have to, in the morning, what must he provide us that we're going to be able to take advantage of? Well, we're having a sleepover, so that means we have to have X, or we have to have Y or Z. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, sleepovers typically involve staying up and playing games, right?
Yes. Okay. So.
Or playing pranks on each other.
Pranks are good. Like a good Sharpie situation.
Other things is provide breakfast in the morning.
Yeah. This is harder than I thought it would be. This game is so. Game's logic is so alien that I really have to seat myself into my childlike mode and figure it out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think at how to make the playing house thing work.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's not.
Yeah.
I think the sleepover is a better idea.
So what I'm hearing is you want to invoke the law of sleepovers that will require games to be played, and that at least sets you up to angle to that for a contest of some kind.
Well, that's the fact I'm hoping to introduce.
Okay.
So I guess we'll see what the dice
that works.
Tell us then.
Okay.
That with a -1 strong arm is 6.
Okay. Now someone could help you.
Who wants to back me up on this BS?
Let's Pillar or the crew. Let's do with you. Do either of you want to back him up?
As a player, yes. I'm trying to figure out from a character point of view what they could do that would help him with knowing more about how sleepovers work.
So I'd probably say to Teddy, well, it's very kind that you've had us over for this sleepover, but as you well know, the rules of sleepover state that in the morning or before we go to bed.
Pillar then chimes in is that in the morning we have to go home so everybody knows that we're okay. And I'll try rolling help.
Roll it. Roll with you have a +1 tie with him by default.
All right. All right, and that is a 7.
That is a 7. So that's you want to give a +1 to their move.
Yep.
Okay. What is it that you do that kind of pushes yourself? I mean, you kind of push through some of these clicks to probably get up to speak. So what gets damaged then?
I'm gonna say trying to, put Bobo in a better light. He tries kind of half transforming to bring his headlights out to kind of give him that little bit of authority with Teddy, and in the process they snap. And now it's like, ugh.
And everyone goes, no. They're all shocked because you broke something. They're all like, oh. Gasps go out amongst the clicks, and Rasputin goes, no, be careful, you'll damage your value.
I'll be careful.
Well, if you are invoking the laws of sleepover, maybe you will be able to leave, but we will play the games before then. The games of our deciding as hosts.
Well, fair's fair.
And that is fair, Bongo. I'm going to cut to the Fox. Where are you watching this situation from?
So I think the Fox asked where to find their friends and then ran off and probably intersected with the caravan as they kind of walked up.
Okay.
And noticed that the lights were turned off so they couldn't see everything. And the Fox is going to stay to the shadows back near where those lights are turned off.
Okay.
Specifically, this is where the captured toys are held and their packaging. Is that right?
That's correct.
Are there any other guards back in that area?
They're probably worried more about the group up there.
So I think the Fox is going to look around for the light switch that was used to turn off where these were. Okay. So go over on either side.
So if you want to activate that, I think that's going to be kind of a jury rig, let's say. A scrounge roll here.
Okay. So let's do that. And I rolled an 8 plus my scrounge is a 1.
Okay.
That's a 9.
All right. So essentially you want a move that allows you to turn on those lights.
Yeah.
And as Rasputin is sort of finishing it, we'll have to play a game. We'll have to see. Suddenly there's a set of lights as the collector case lights come up along the side, and they go, they light up from the top, and then the next row, and then the next row, and then the next row, and the next row of lights. And you'll see these shelves off in the distance to either side, where you'll see figures in clamshells. You'll see boxes of Legos. You will see cases with the plastic on them with the figures, diorama sets with figures held down by tape and wire. And the clicks kind of look around like the shock of this revelation. Captain, are you still thinking about your ship, or is this a shocking moment to you?
So I think what happens when it all goes on, there's the Lego boxes. One that's really close is one of the King's Castle kind of sets, and some of the Vikings, we'll say Halfdan, runs over to the box and starts pounding on it with his little Lego fist. He's like, "King Frederick, no!" Because he can see What's in
Oh,
the
safe to
box?
sell. Oh, it's safe to sell. You hear that from the box as it's kind of vibrating.
Yeah. So I think that Hafton and I keep having to look back at my list of names
Yes.
that I've got. We'll say Hafton and
Skarsgård. That's another one, right?
Thorbjorn are going to try to pull the box down off the shelf
Oh, interesting. Okay.
because they're just like distraught at seeing their compatriots boxed up.
Let's have you roll strong arm because you're rolling push or pull.
Yep.
And then I'm going to check in with the philosophers and kind of swing over.
+1.
Yeah.
All right. Oops. Where did I didn't get the roll for your party.
Oh,
yeah. There we go.
Got it.
I found it. Yep. All right. That's an 8.
That's
total.
an 8. All right.
Yeah.
You fall down and you choose one. You can take damage to a part, drop your stuff, or get lost.
I think take damage to a part would work here.
Gets caught under the falling box.
So I think it's going to be Hafton.
Hafton, no! And that box will come crashing down. And like a great number of the hero clicks are running over there, not to rescue them, but to make sure there's no damage to the box, that it's still pristine and in mint condition.
So does the box actually break at all?
It falls down. It comes off the thing, but it could conceivably be pulled open now, but it is down now. That's definitely on sort of ground level with you.
Okay.
What does the rest of the Philosopher's Guild do during all of this and this craziness that is broken out?
So there were a bunch of clicks that ran over towards where the box is.
Yeah.
I think let's see who's there. I think Virginia Woolf kind of looks and sees this and kind of backs up and then starts talking to the owl and to the deer, and the three of them run off. So they head off. Are they going to be blocked by guards? Are there guards that would bar their way? Or are they busy?
You can run away.
So what I want to actually do is I want to go find something.
Okay.
I think there's a move for that.
Yep. Find useful stuff or things.
There we go. Do I have to say specifically what it is?
Stuff is just general stuff you can use to make things later. If there's something specific you want, thing, you have to tell me what it is you want.
Okay, so what I specifically want to look for is, I thought that they had like highlighters and markers and that kind of stuff back where they were repairing the toys. Mm-hmm. And I want to run back there and kind of grab one of those.
Okay, so let's have you roll with Scrounge.
Okay. I rolled a 6 and my Scrounge is a 1, so that's a 7.
Okay, so you get to choose one. You pick exactly what you will get stuff. Mm-hmm. So pick one of these results. Then it's exactly what you're looking for. It isn't dangerous. Nobody else wants it.
I'm going to say it's exactly what I'm looking for.
Okay. Then there definitely you will run over to where that is, but there are definitely clicks there around it, and you can tell that they are like staying away because from these things, because clearly they give off that marker smell that's kind of toxic here.
I see.
Bongo. Teddy goes, "Are you going to be good guests, right? Because we're at a sleepover."
Well, there's always a bit of rowdiness that happens at all these parties. It's not like there's anybody around to get mad at you, right?
Fair enough. You're a clever one, Bongo.
Well, I've been around for a while. I've picked up a lot in my days.
Well, I will set the games. And if you can succeed, you may go in the morning.
Wow. Isn't that just a load of fun?
I hope so. I hope we're going to have lots of fun, Bongo. I could use someone like you.
Oh. What exactly for? For making somebody laugh or smile? That's what I'm best at. I'm a clown, after all. I want to do like a little cartwheel or something.
Yes, that. What you said. And he does come down towards where you're at, clearly to like he wants to he's conversing with you directly. Like you've clearly caught his attention. You've talked up, so he sees you as the leader of this and as a worthy adversary for these games.
Okay.
Well, why don't you gather your friends together, and I'll gather my pieces together, and we'll figure out about these games.
Sure, but Teddy, before we go to gather together, I had a question for you.
Sure.
You know, Teddy, you've managed to gather a lot of friends here, and it looks like to develop a place like this would take a rather long time.
Yeah.
How long did it take you?
It has been a while. I started just after the fall.
Oh. How do you remember anything from before?
And you see him kind of stop, and you'll hear kind of a whirring in his chest, and you'll see him kind of smack against that. No, I don't remember anything of the time before.
Oh, a shame. Well, I guess we better get back to our pillow fort.
Let me come to Pillar. Pillar, you see some of your brethren in boxes, in cases, and things on these shelves, including some of those horrible aerobots. You also see some of the others, the lessers, the GoBots. You can ignore their plight at your leisure.
Well, they maybe have to be in the front line of getting out of here if the games don't go well. All right, so I definitely see some of mine. I don't see any of those really snobby like sports car transformers, or do I see like one of those all polished up and shiny?
Oh yeah, do you see a big, beautiful yellow VW?
Oh, jerk! All right,
Little face is looking out at you.
I'm gonna have to get you out, aren't I? Okay. Just drifting over towards there to see if I can hear anything. I know the clicks are already all twitched out about the box falling down. I'm very carefully approaching to see if, like, through any of the holes in the clamshells or anything, I can hear any of them talking.
Yeah. what is the form of the transformer that is closest to that you're able to converse with?
I'm gonna say it is unfortunately that VW. It's right there. It's easy. It's the easiest one for me to talk to. I'd much rather be talking to the semi or the dump truck up 2 shelves, but I got to talk to this guy, and right above him there's a couple of those aerobots, and no, and I don't want to get to know the GoBots too well because I'm already mentally writing them off a little. So,
hey, beep, 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 beep. Hey, save yourselves. Hey, beep, 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 beep.
How long you been stuck?
For a while. Yep, go. Beep, beep.
Stuck in there good, or you think you only need a little help for a tow?
They got us locked. We're all, we look pretty, but they put the different parts in us too, make us look pretty. But we're all stuck together.
Oh, so they made sure you couldn't move.
Yep.
All right, that's unfortunate. Good to know.
Wait, but you're gonna help us, or you're gonna save yourselves?
I'm gonna see what I can do to help you, but I can't help you if I don't save myself. So how'd you get stuck in this? They find you, or did you come in?
B2B came in, heard there were repairs here. That's what they were telling people. Went out neighboring places, said they were for repairs. Fixed this up, then boxed this up.
I see. All right. Okay. Well, none of you can move well, just a little bit.
They kind of move, and you can see that they've got those little holding wires and plastic and things that are strapping them to their cardboards.
Okay. So you're pinned down and glued down a little bit, but if we could get you out, you might be able to limp out of here.
Yep.
All right. I gotta go talk to our clown here and see what we're gonna do about that, but see what we can do to get you out. Now I just gotta check with you. You've been involved with that whole aerobot problem? Are they kind of settled, or something that we want to actually try to get loose to?
Interesting. I want to have you roll make friends here.
Okay. Let's see, what do I need to do there?
Roll with smile.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
You're kind of a grumpy truck.
Hey, I'm a grumpy truck.
You're a grumpy truck.
Okay, that's an 11.
He goes, the airbots are fine. They're good. They're all everybody's all in the same mess here.
All right. Okay. Well, we're all on the same shelf. I suppose we'll try to get as many of us out as we can, but I also don't need to get broken down and used to put someone else back together. I had a couple scrapes with that already. So we'll do what we can here, and if we can't, we'll see about coming back.
I'm going to cut over to the Seabrick. That poor Hafton has been injured by this. The box has fallen down. You can see that Bongo seems to have struck some kind of at least temporary truce with Rasputin, and these cliques are kind of surrounding, trying to figure out what to do about getting this box back up.
Yeah, I think that the Captain Sven is kind of urging the other Vikings to be cautious, right? And like don't get too worked up, because he's pretty worried too, right? He's seeing the same things they're seeing, but he's trying to keep them from acting rashly, because he saw how that just lost Halfton. And he's like, well, let's see what kind of games Teddy wants to play here.
And if you're willing to go along, the clicks will kind of move you back over towards where the main group is for this. Fox and Thinkers, let's come back to you. What do you want to do?
So I think the group that kind of split off. So I think the Fox did they see the Fox whenever the lights turned on?
You tell me.
I don't think they did. I think the Fox turned on the lights and then slipped away so that he can tell everyone, what's going on. And I think the group that ran away, they grabbed those stinky markers.
Okay.
I figure there's like a pink pen and a Sharpie, and they're going to head back. Okay.
So tell me how you're doing this. And getting past these people who are kind of guarding them.
Yeah. So they are kind of staying away from them because they're really stinky.
Okay.
And I think, let's see, probably Virginia Woolf is going to run right up and grab one of them and kind of wave it to kind of keep them at bay.
Okay.
So that they, number one, want to stay away from the stink, and number two, are afraid they're going to get marked up from it.
That's look fierce.
Okay, and that is strong arm. Nice. Ooh, that is a 4.
So when you go over to these markers, who is it who grabs the marker?
I think it was Virginia Woolf.
Virginia Woolf, you'll grab it, and you haven't had experience with these markers before, but as you grab it, you're made of fabric, and there is that moment when your fabric kind of, touches against the marker tip, and suddenly all of that ink goes into your fabric, and you're going to damage a part there.
Okay. So I'll damage Virginia Woolf.
Okay.
So that makes the most sense. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I don't think you're going to be able to get a hold of it right now. The people here are kind of raising a hue and a cry.
So that's the second part I think I've damaged. One was in the last session. Does that mean I have 2 hold?
Yes, it does.
Okay, good. Thank you. And I think that they see what happens. So Virginia Woolf, she sees this, I think a red paint start to leak up through one of the fabric areas and panics a little bit and runs off into the darkness. And the other finger puppets look scared for a moment because they don't know what to do next.
I'm going to cut back to Ruxputin, who will say, I have 3 games. And shall we do it best of 3?
Well, tell me the games.
Well, one is a race.
Love a good race.
Another is hide and go seek.
Oh, I love a good hide and go seek.
And the last one is Blood Bowl.
I think Thorbjorn says, I love a good Blood Bowl.
Yes. Do you agree?
I kind of look around and, I see pillars, got his tires revving, and I see the Fox kind of peeking in and out from around the corners, and I see all the Vikings cheering on Blood Bowl, and I say, oh, you know what? Those sound like a great set of games for us. A lot of fun will be had, I'm sure.
Excellent. Minions, bring me chairs. And you will see these figures. They kind of look like figures. They're sort of like they sort of maybe look like they've got like a cape and a blue bodysuit, but then this weird shield and this like cowl on. And they look very low quality action figures. And these knockoffs will bring over a couple of baby chairs for you and Rex Putin to sit on to watch the proceedings.
Oh, I thought I might get to play. I guess I'm just watching today, huh? Cheering from the sidelines.
Well, we'll see, won't we? Maybe something will happen to one of your friends, and you'll need to sub in.
That doesn't sound menacing at all.
What shall we begin with? What would you like to play first?
So we've got these kind of two chairs that we're sitting at, right? What is the field that we're like looking at? Like, what's our surroundings?
Imagine that we've got this aisle of a store that the main way that you've come down, and the clicks have kind of formed up around the outside, on the outside edges of that, like it's a big main street. And you're in these chairs kind of at the far end of this by the aircraft carrier, overlooking this. And they've got, you can see that they're bringing like pieces and parts and getting ready to set up for whatever is going to be going on here.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I am looking here. I think before we get started on these very intense games, racing and Blood Bowl, it might be good to warm up with a little hide and seek. Warm up the body, warm up the brain.
Absolutely. We can start with that. Who will be playing hide and seek?
So, I think, am I like putting one person to each game?
Yes.
Is that the idea? I think if I'm looking to pick the best hiders and seekers out there, who better than the Philosophers Guild?
And I think the few that are left kind of puff up and say, "Oh, of course," and they kind of step forward.
They are so good at hiding. Some of them may be hiding right now.
Good. Allow me to call my seeker. And you will see from the shadows this enormous figure come out. It has a base as well, but it looks like this big, like dinosaur figure, like big, and it has these enormous purple pants on. And Rex Putin says, Fin Fan Foom will be seeking. And I think we'll take our break there, and then we will come back.
I will say, you might just pick up on this on your own, Stephen, but I thought by doing hide and go seek at the beginning, that might give us an opportunity to do some cheating to prepare ourselves for upcoming games.
So people could miss and that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. So we will come back, and people can go build machines, jury rig things, set up stuff while this is going on. While we then resolve the hide and seek. That sounds awesome. We'll come back to that.
Hey, Michael.
How's it going, Steven?
Just fine. So you mentioned, setting traps or trying to set things up. Did you have anything in mind specifically?
Well, I knew that some of you were still coming back with some markers, and I wasn't quite sure what you had in mind for those just yet, but I was excited to find out. Yeah, I guess I didn't necessarily have anything in mind at the time.
Okay, so my thought with the markers was to run back and mark up us and the others, so we're no longer mint, and they wouldn't want to keep us. Another option would be to threaten the packages with marking them up to get to be able to leave, but that seems a little bit unsatisfying because we'd have to leave some of these toys behind.
Yeah, I'm hoping for something heroic.
Yeah.
Like a cool rescue or something.
So then maybe sneaking away and seeing about getting these markers in order to mark as many people up as possible so that they won't want us is a good idea. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. So I guess the question would be, when would you want to reveal that we've been marked?
Probably it seems like whenever it would be dramatically appropriate from how the games go. So I don't have very many ideas about how to set up the game. So there's a race, and there's hide and go seek, and what's the other? Oh, it's Blood Bowl, but we don't know much about that.
Well, if I had to guess, a lot of those are probably going to kind of boil down to the play a game or fight song rules.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm not really sure. The move says determine if you've won or lost.
Yeah.
Which is nice and open to interpretation, but not so easy to predict with a 2d6 roll or whatever. So
Okay.
that'd be a cool contingency plan. Or at the end, we're all like, "Haha, we've got the black spot," or whatever. Oh, be gone from here, you poxed. Yeah. I didn't mean to sabotage your plan. If
Oh no, and that's why I was checking in with you, was because my plan wasn't going so well, so I wanted to see if you had another plan in mind, and we can see where to go from there.
Yeah, I'm hoping everybody will just do a little bit of cheating, remembering my words from earlier. They echo in your head.
So you have some time here. They are getting things ready. They are clearing away sections of the aisles as they're preparing, and Foom is stalking around and kind of waiting, and scratching himself and hanging about. There is a picture of the Fin Fan whom Hero clicks in the chat there. So it is a very heavy figure. So tell me, while this is going on, and there is some opportunity and some distraction, let's go in that same order: Pillar, Viking, Philosophers, and then come back to Bongo, and we'll see what you are doing in how you're taking advantage of the opportunity. So Pillar, what about you?
From hearing what the games are and from what I've kind of promised the toys I talk to, I'm looking at a way to modify myself so that I could be able to engineer an accident at the same time cut open some of the packaging with my blade.
Ooh, interesting. So you want to jury rig is I think what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
So first you need to find some stuff.
Okay. Well, there are a whole bunch of part bins lying around. Maybe I'll get lucky and someone's not watching one closely.
Okay, let's have you roll scrounge.
All right. All right, that is a 12.
As you 12. So they are all very occupied in getting this ready. They're all very excited, kumite, kumite. And they're all just super excited about there being these contests and these games. And so you're able to wander, and you've seen a Lego section, but you'll wander over and you'll find a section for essentially for Transformers, wheels and panels and headlights and all of that kind of thing. So you want to actually make a device to give yourself a move.
That or modify. I was thinking modifying my blade with jury rig. Either way.
Yeah. Does it repair or modify a part? Yeah, you can use that to gain a move too. So let's have you. So you'll get stuff.
All right.
And then you're going to use that stuff to make a thing.
Okay.
And so let's have you again roll scrounge.
All right. So just so I know what's going on, that first one was to get the stuff, and the second one is to see how the jury rig turns out.
Yep.
All right. Do I still need to pick 2 of the 3 for the 10 plus on the fine stuff, or?
Oh, yeah, actually, I just realized I thought you got everything, but it is just pick 2. So what is the thing that you don't pick?
It isn't dangerous.
Okay, so you will find what is it you find? What is the part here that is a dangerous transformer thing for you to use?
It's
overclock yourself.
It's one of those spring powered pneumatic parts for a much bigger, stronger rig than I am. It's for one of those ones, one of those older ones that were actually made out of metal.
Yeah.
Versus the newer plastic ones that I am. So that's likely to hurt.
Yeah. Plastic might be able to not take the strain of it.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's also probably why it's still setting off to the side, because they're looking at it going, well, if we ever get one of those really old ones in here, that's going to be important.
There's probably a little label that says "Do not touch."
Mm-hmm.
Dangerous.
Yep.
Go and get it. Okay. Well, let's see you jury rig this.
All right. That's 11.
That is an 11. So you get to pick 3 from the jury rig list.
All right. Okay. Well, let's see. I will choose does not draw unwanted attention.
Okay.
Now here's where the question comes in. Since I'm a mecha, I can just use stuff to give myself a move.
Yeah. So let's see here. When the jury rig move, you can use up stuff to gain a new move, even if you didn't choose that result. So you could take you can take 3 of those and then also get a move, or you could get yourself 2 moves.
Okay. All right. In that case, yeah. I'm going to be able to use my stuff. It's not going to use up my stuff.
Okay.
So I could use the second one. Doesn't draw unwanted attention, and then I gain 2 moves.
Okay. So what describe to me what you want this blade to be able to do?
The first thing that I want it to do is I want to make sure it's nice and sharp. I want to make sure that I can just basically slice open some of those boxes or something along those lines to try to let some of the toys out.
Right. So we've got a box cutter move.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the
plus You will cut open a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
On a 7 to 9, you might only get one. Does that seem like a fair kind of way to read that?
Yep, that works. The other move I want is based on that whole spring-loaded pneumatic idea of, it's a mixture, it's confusing sort of thing. But since I want to make sure I could use this to engineer an accident during the race,
Okay.
is that it allows me to basically power leap. It allows me to fling myself into the air. So I can maybe do a flying hit to try to hit those aerobots to let them out, because even if they can't move, great. Hopefully they can fly at least a little.
So a 10 plus, you can leap to anywhere in line of sight. On a 7 to 9, you can leap to anywhere in line of sight, but either you will take some damage or you won't be able to get down.
Okay, I like it.
Sound good?
Yep.
Okay. My Viking friends, what are you up to? You've heard that there will be a Blood Bowl.
Yeah, so I think I want to kind of do the same sequence and move this there to try to get my crew back up to full strength, since we're down by 2 Vikings.
Okay. So
I want to
take a breather.
Yeah.
That's a free repair. And then you could try and do a regular repair if you wanted to.
So what I'm kind of envisioning is like busting open while nobody's looking, like opening one of the Lego boxes and getting some more like Lego people parts out of it.
Okay.
And kind of distributing those parts among the Vikings so that we're back up to the right number of guys, even though like one of them might have like a space helmet or something on, depending on what box we broke into.
Sure. So we're going to do the same sequence. First, to find something to get the access to the right parts.
Yeah.
And then we'll do the jury rig, and we'll see what cool things come from that.
Okay. So my scrounge is 2.
2.
So hopefully
you get an extra move too if you do.
Oh, jeez. That's a 5, even with the +2 on scrounge.
So I think that what is going to happen is you are going to find the stuff, since we've established it's accessible. But I think that that to like get the pieces you need, someone is going to have to, stay out, essentially kind of sacrifice themselves to make sure there is full integrity for the whole group as you upgrade and repair everybody else.
Okay.
Who will that be? Who will make that sacrifice?
Let's have Olaf make the sacrifice.
And do we see him taking off his arm or his hands or his head? What do we see?
Yeah, I think that he is taking off all of his parts, and they're like temporarily replacing them with other just like random bricks.
Okay.
So, and it's like eventually he's taken off all of the parts. So it's like Ship of Theseus kind of thing. Like, is it even really still him? But so, he's got like one of the just like standard, 2x4 bricks for legs now. And he's got a little like hinge thing, and he's got like a little potted plant for an arm and stuff like that. Like awesome. Vaguely humanoid, but not really.
So you will have stuff, and you'll mark Olaf as injured, which will give you another hold. So you should have 3 hold right now. And then you can try and jury rig.
All right, so that one I roll with scrounge again. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so hopefully I do better this time. There we go. That's a 13.
All right. So you get to pick 3 things from the list. And you also get a move.
Okay. So we will successfully repair. It doesn't draw unwanted attention.
Okay.
And yeah, I like gaining a move.
Okay. So so you can repair one of your parts. Is it Halfdan or Thorvald that is brought back to the fold?
That's. I think it makes more sense for Thorvald because Halfdan is still like stuck under that other box.
Yes.
So I'm going to say it's Thorvald. We can repair.
And what are the moves that you want for your upgraded, souped-up Viking crew?
So I'm trying to think in terms of
from Ninjato and
yeah,
Batman and space figures and all of that.
yeah. Well, it's actually because there's and because there's Harry Potter Legos now too,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Although part of me kind of likes the classic like space and town sets from like the 1980s.
Oh yeah.
Back when I was playing with Legos. So yeah, well, I have, there's so many options. I have to decide which Lego set that I want to go with.
Do you want to take a sec to think? I'll hit the others and come back.
Yeah,
to you.
give me a sec to think.
Yeah. Think about what you're going to look like and what are going to be the 2 moves that you want. Philosopher's Guild.
Okay, so I have a few things, so I don't want to overload everything.
Okay.
But I think the first thing.
Yeah. What are the 2 most important ones?
Okay. So I think the 2 most important ones. One is to probably have the fox find the rebellion.
Okay.
And tell them to be ready to untie all of the toys whenever their boxes get cut.
Okay.
To pair up with Pillar.
Let's have you find things.
Okay.
Find something here.
Find something?
Yeah.
Ooh. What is that? That is Scrounge? That's a 12.
That is a 12. So it's exactly what you were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't dangerous, or nobody else wants it, so nobody else is watching it.
Well, I think it's obvious that nobody else wants it.
Okay.
So these things can, these knockoffs can be dangerous.
Okay. So you will go down and you will find, you have to kind of sneak down some levels. And what is the section where the knockoffs are working, the land of literally misfit toys? What does that look like?
So I think they have an assembly line that's actually under the raised floor where the cabling and stuff would be.
Yeah.
And they're assembling pieces and cleaning them up. Now, who were the other pieces in the rebellion?
So it's primarily the amiibos, and then down here are the various knockoff figures. You will see, again, there's the Revengers, Spook Chasers. You'll see the Star Raiders, New Style Ninja Tortoises, and the combo action figures, the guys with the bandanas and the guns.
Yeah.
But you'll also see like Moss Man and Skunkor, the unwanted collectibles that are down here.
And so I tell them that whenever things go down, they should untie the prisoner toys.
we'll do the best we can. We gotta sneak into place. But you think you can bring down Ruxputin?
We're working on it.
Oh, okay. And yeah, they will gather themselves together and prepare to do that. In the background, as you're doing that, we will see a figure kind of, we see it kind of listen to all of this and then walk off panel, and we'll see this figure heading off, maybe going to sell somebody out.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the other thing you wanted to do with the rest of the finger puppets?
So I was thinking, what I'd like to do is I'd like to rig up like a paint can or something like that to fall, so that could either Pillar could tear out in it and throw paint everywhere, or we could tip it over at some point to just spread paint everywhere to mark all of the toys.
So you want some kind of ink, paint, some kind of marking substance. Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
All right. So that sounds like find something and then make a device.
Oh, okay.
Does that sound fair?
Yeah, I think so.
So let's have you find something.
Okay. 8 plus scrounge 9. 9.
9. So is it exactly what you want looking for? Is it not dangerous, or is it unguarded?
It is it is nobody else. It's unguarded. Nobody else wants it.
Yeah. So this stuff is, you find some ink. It's kind of thick and viscous, and you end up having to open these little like jars, and like Space Wolf's blue and gunmetal gray, and you have to pour all these into there, and it will get, you will get splattered.
I get speckles all over.
Yeah, you're not sure this is ever coming out.
Okay.
And then you want to make a device with it, right?
Sure.
Okay.
And that's the, so we can spill it at some point appropriately?
Yes.
Okay. So that is, what's that roll?
Make a device. When you build a new device, if you have all the stuff, which I think the paint and things we can say it is, you roll the number of helpers, which is the number of characters that are helping you make this. Mm-hmm. Is anybody else helping you make this?
I don't want to take up anyone else's turn, but I would gladly accept any help. I think I'm going to tell everyone so that they know that the paint is available, though.
Okay. So let's have you roll then with a +0.
Okay. So I rolled a 7.
Okay. So choose one from the list.
Okay. Nobody knows you made it.
Okay. Yeah. It's definitely going to use up the stuff.
Yeah.
It has its splatter paint move. And you're not going to be able to make it because you used up all the paint to do this. So, but it is hidden away somewhere. We have the prank paint can. Bongo, Ruxputin is occupied with various managerial tasks, getting this all done. And what do you want to do while all of this is getting set, getting ready?
I think Bongo is just trying to check in with everyone individually and see how they're feeling about this. I think he'd probably speak with the Philosophers Guild first, since their game's coming up first. So whichever representative he can find first.
So who will they find?
So I think it's probably Nietzsche, and Nietzsche's got splatters of speckles of different colors all over him, and says, "Bongo, what do you need?"
Look, my good fellow, I can't help but feel slightly responsible for getting you all into this. I mean, it was my advice to come here in the first place, and I just feel like we've got ourselves in a real sticky wicket.
I wouldn't say it was anyone's fault but our own, and this is a chance for us all to free the prisoners here. I think maybe it was a good thing we came here.
You're thinking if we can win these games that maybe we can negotiate some terms, is what you're thinking?
No, I don't think Teddy Rexputin is trustworthy. I think that we're going to have to damage quite a few toys before we get out of here with everyone.
Well, that's going to take a bit of vinegar. So you're thinking we can just use these games as a ruse?
And I expect that Rexputin is doing the same.
Oh, Nietzsche, you have a somewhat pessimistic attitude about life, but I think that you might be onto something there.
Well, that way life never disappoints you.
Yeah, so
There are a couple of things you could use to come out of this. You could I would think you could lend a cheer to maybe gain a tie with them. Or if you wanted to use this as kind of a minor fix-up to assist them, you could do that.
Well, so my plan is going to be to try to keep Teddy busy while everyone is enacting their plans and playing their games, quote unquote.
Excellent.
Is there anything I can help you with, Nietzsche, while you're doing this? I'm going to be up there with Teddy, keeping an eye on him, and he'll be keeping an eye on me. But
you'll know it whenever the time is right. But I can let the other people in the guild know, the other puppets in the guild know that you might need a distraction at one time or another, and we might be ready to help you too.
All right.
Yeah.
That sounds like we're going to make it through.
Yeah. So if you need help, let me know, and I'll have one of the puppets cause a distraction.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of move on over to Pillar.
Okay. And don't forget that you have that friendship move too if you want to create additional ties with people.
Yeah, remind me about the ties again.
So ties are what gives you the value for helping people.
And how do you use a tie?
Essentially, when you roll to help someone, you're rolling with the number of ties you have with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So once per session, when you put someone else's needs before your own, they tell you how they are weak, afraid, or vulnerable, and you tell them a secret of your own. You may also create a tie with them. Do we think that that's happening right now, or
who would you want to build that with?
So I think I'd kind of been having that frank discussion with the Philosophers Guild at first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you think that works, they certainly expressed some reservations there, some negativity.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think someone else's needs above my own. It sounds like we're all working in concert here.
That's true.
So I'm thinking this might be appropriate for like a dramatic sacrifice moment.
Okay. Yeah.
If it's only once per session, you know.
Yeah. Let's save that for that then.
Cool.
Yeah. It's interesting. A lot of the moves that they have for social interactions are either just the help or support in an immediate instance, or they're about affecting NPCs on things. So I don't think necessarily a move triggers then in that interactions.
I think it's the sort of thing that happens.
Though we can still play those out with you and Pillar, and you checking with the Vikings.
Do we want to play those out, or do we kind of want to montage those? Like, hey, here's the plan. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah. So what do we see on screen between you and Pillar?
So I think it's sort of like interspersed between like quick chats with Teddy, and then him being distracted by one of his assistants, and then I run off and talk to somebody, and I see me talking to Pillar, and Pillar's probably pointing to the aerobots or something like that.
Mentioning to slip to Teddy about the fact that, you know, I'm more beat up than I look, so sometimes when I go fast, sometimes I have problems.
Right. So I'll take that bit of sabotage, and then I'll go over to the captain of the Sea Brick and chat with him. Is there anything in particular that you're wanting to communicate, or?
I think just confidence that that we know how to Blood Bowl.
So maybe we could talk about that. So you sounded pretty excited when Teddy talked about a blood bowl. I've never heard of that. What is?
I mean, it's a win-win situation for us, right? Either we defeat our enemies in glory on the battlefield, or we all go to Lego Valhalla. I mean, there's no downside to Blood Bowl.
But forgive an old clown, but what exactly happens in a blood bowl? Hopefully, no blood.
Okay, so you're familiar with a bowl, right?
Sure.
Okay. And you know what blood is, right?
Vaguely, I can't say I've seen it.
So it's blood, and it's a bowl.
So is it a synchronized swimming contest, or?
Kind of, yeah.
Well, is there any way I can help?
I mean, once we see the bowl itself, we may need some more parts. So if you're able to slip us some more parts when the time comes, that might be helpful.
Well, if there's anybody I'd want to be rooting on for a blood bowl, it would be you and the boys. That's all I can say.
All right.
Kick some butt out there.
We got this.
And I kind of walk away like, I don't know what he's talking about.
Real quick, you know, you hear the clicking, you know, the cheering clicking of 1,000 clicks as they're all gathered around, all of that, you know, all of them doing that. And they're gathered in the areas around, and you've returned back, and Rex Putin is awaiting your return and gestures to the seat beside him, Bongo. And Fin Fan Foom kind of gathers himself up, and the Philosophers Guild, the ones who are participating, are kind of gathered in a group, you know, in front of him, and you see them bring out a kitchen timer, and you see two of these clicks, like they have to like push like they're moving big things. They kind of the click to 5 minutes thing, and Fin Fan Foom goes, "All right, count to 10," and puts his big hands over his eyes, and he's going to count to 10. So this is playing a game, and the way this moves works is, do you win? Are you going to win hide and seek?
Do we need to do rolls? And
There's no roll for this. No, when you play a game, you get to say if you won or not, and then we make a roll to see what comes of that.
Interesting.
You know, it's obviously more dramatic if at least one of you fails, so the last game is more consistent. On the other hand, having you win all three, that's a hat trick, could be awesome too. I don't know. Tell me, Stephen, do the Philosophers Guild manage to hide for 5 minutes away from Fin Fan Foom, this great beast who can fly, who knows the area? What do you think?
Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to spend a hold and say something about Fin Fan Foom.
Okay.
This is a minor fact about someone I just met.
Absolutely.
And I think that is...
Oh, hello. I just wanted to Fin Fan Foom. Good to meet you.
He's very large,
Oh,
like
yeah.
very, very big. So he has trouble seeing things that are tiny, like on the floor.
Absolutely.
So I think that,
You think you need glasses.
right. He's fine with the bigger toys like the Transformers or even the Clicks, but with tiny little things he's not so good with.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that we win the game,
Okay.
but and we the what ends up happening is they notice. I think that Teddy Rexputin realizes that we've swapped places, so there's more of the Philosophers Guild than what he had seen in the past.
So he has some suspicion about there might be some cheating going on here.
Yeah,
Okay.
he just can't prove it yet.
Sure. Let's have you roll smile, because there
Smile.
are some things that can fall out of the game here.
That is an 11.
Okay. So you get to pick 3 from play a game. You want a particular wager. You get to describe what you won, like if there was a side bet. Your opponent respects your skill and treats you with respect from now on. You discovered something new about the game. You feel really good about yourself, and nothing can tear you down. The next time you roll a 6-, you don't damage a part.
Okay, so I'm going to pick number 1. I'm going to pick the opponent respects your skill and treats you with respect from here on out. But I think that's actually the knockoff parts and that kind of stuff. They were watching. This is the team that we were trying to inspire.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. They're up there. Oh, look at them go.
Yeah, thinking maybe we'll get away with this. I think the way that we win is the puppets, the finger puppets, roll themselves up very, very tightly, and then they feed themselves like into the shelving units, so that
Okay.
they're very tiny, and that's why Fing Fang Foom can't see them.
Right. So they're like this, and then they roll themselves up into a very tiny little thing there. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Option 2, I think, is one a wager. And I think that I think we wagered with some of the clicks for that Sharpie paint pen kind of thing that we saw before.
Okay.
And what we bid for was that some of us would stay behind to guard instead.
That sounds good.
Okay.
And feel good about yourself?
I don't think so, because I like the taking damage and having the hold.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm going to leave that open. So the other one is discovered something new about this game. What is it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Does anyone have any ideas? I'm thinking maybe we discovered how Teddy Ruxputin,
how he keeps his power, how he controls things.
Oh, okay. I was going to say how he's trying to rig the games.
Oh, okay. Well, he probably definitely has like little traps and things set up in various places where you would go. So he has rigged some of that stuff out. Too small to affect Finn, but definitely enough to affect you. But you're able to you go tangential to it.
And I let Pillar know to expect these kinds of bad sportsmanship whenever he is in his race.
All right. And there'll be that ding of the kitchen timer. And the clicks are, they're disappointed, but there's still the sounds of clicking, like applause clicking. And you'll see Ruxputin kind of look around, his gaze goes across the crowd. And as he does that, the clicking subsides.
Well, that was a good first round, don't you think?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And
that Fin Fang Foom, he's quite a character. He tried his hardest. Got to give him points for that, right?
Yes. Yes, well, you spoke for him. I will not punish him too much for his failures.
Punishment? It's just a game, Teddy.
You don't understand. Games are everything.
Games are everything. What would you do if you found out that you hadn't won any of these games? Wouldn't be too hard on yourself now, would you, Teddy?
Let us begin the race. Kind of smacks at his chest again.
That's a go-getter's attitude right there.
They will kind of set up like a starting line, and they will, you can see down at the end of the causeway. There's the end line there. Actually, probably ends here by where the group is at. Probably start at the far end. So it's probably you and a few clicks down at that end pillar. Get yourself set up, and you will see them bring this big plastic like mountain kind of thing out. And you will see this guy on a plastic motorcycle rolls up, and you see him roll back up onto the mountain, and you will see clicks kind of climb up, and you see there's this pump at the top, and you see them begin to pump on that. And as they pump on it, you'll hear this revving from the motorcycle. And it gets louder and louder and faster and faster. And if the motorcycle's there and it's ready, and they will throw the flag. And as soon as they do, there's a click, and that motorcycle goes ring off the thing. But you're off the starting blocks fast too. Do you think you win?
Since Pillar's whole plan is to have an accident to open those boxes.
Okay. Oh, you lose this one, but you're going to tear boxes open?
That's the idea.
I love it.
Is that he's going to, especially after the warning about the traps, he's kind of looking for one of them. So it looks like that Teddy's attempt to outthink us actually causes damage to his prisoners' cages.
Okay.
So it's one of those moments going, yes, I'm so clever. I'm so brilliant. I set up these traps, and then pring, and Pillar goes flying off and cuts open those airbox.
Then let's have you roll strong arm with your box cutter move.
All right. Ouch. Okay, that's a 5.
That is a 5.
I'd like to try to help.
Ooh, how would you be helping?
So this is Fox, and what Fox is doing is directing the misfit toys.
Uh-huh.
To basically, he's not going to make it. He's jumping close and going to shove the boxes a little bit closer to him.
Okay. Well, then let's have you roll ties with him.
Okay,
They'll still only take it to a 6.
Yep. I rolled a 6. I have a 1 tie with him that gets me a 7.
Okay.
But as a sock, whenever I help someone, I can treat a 7 to 9 as a 10 plus.
Ooh, okay. You can grant +1 on the move.
Yes.
You can take the consequences of a failure on their next move for yourself. Nothing breaks, or someone else can help too.
So it's a +1, and someone else has to help in order to get him to a 7.
Who point to someone? Who else is helping? Is it the Vikings or is it Bongo?
I think Bongo's helping by distracting. Bongo's helping. Yeah, let's do it that way.
Bongo, how are you helping that this box cutting plan goes off without alerting?
Yeah, I've got to get under Teddy's skin a little bit here,
Okay.
I think. So I think I'm just saying some things to him to sort of get him riled up and a little bit unfocused on what's at stake here, right? Yeah, so I noticed, Teddy, that your voice box there is giving you a bit of an issue. It's whirring a bit.
Puts his paw to his chest. I don't know what you're talking about, friend.
Well, I mean, I see you take so much care into fixing up and repairing all these nice toys. You're a bit of a workaholic. Don't take time for taking care of yourself. Is that what it is?
I am mint.
I think you might need a breath mint if that's what we're saying. Oh, I'm just playing with your bud, and I sort of smack his back hard enough to make the gears kind of grind a bit.
Let's have you roll help someone.
Yes. I wish I'd made that tie earlier. I did get a 7 though.
Awesome. So you want to give him a +1?
There's that +1.
Okay. So you will tell me what it looks like when you come across those boxes, Pillar. Even though you lose, you'll get some of these. Not as many as you wanted to, but some of them.
It's one of those, because he's built the whole thing, so it really looks like it's an out of control, and it was a near thing. He was being a little too cocky bouncing off of that trap of Teddy's, and he comes up. It was originally supposed to be a nice spin cut across and flat, but this one's more of a spiral, and it just chews through the top instead of being that nice clean cut he was hoping for. And he only gets a couple of them, and yeah, at that point, the race is over for him. This motorcycle's way gone.
All right. The STP guy goes flying across the finish line. Ruxpin goes, yay! And we'll look at you and Bongo and says, 1-all.
Whoa, how exciting.
Looks like your friend had an accident.
Well, he's an older toy. He's got a lot of bent gears and stripped coils. He's been through a lot. Certainly not someone I would call mint. No offense to him.
We'll work on that.
I like to think there's a bit of charm that comes from a little love and a little bit of play. My owner, she loved to play with me.
And when you mention your owner, he turns away and clear the field. We'll see them in the background. They're so intent on keeping Ruxputin happy that they don't notice the boxes that have been cut open, the tape that's been stripped. They don't notice the figures moving in behind the shelves, all of that. And you will see then these group of clicks to begin to haul out this great big platform. Big, sort of brown-legged and great sort of metal green field. And they will set that in the middle. And you can hear kind of a from it. And you will see this team of footballers, some of them NFL clicks, some of them Blood Bowl figures, half painted, some of them just primed, and a miscellany of other sports like figures come out. All of them have been decorated up with little like spikes and things like that have been glued on to make them more spiky and painful. And they will, they get up onto the field. Loose foosball guy. And
the Vikings start chanting, "Blood Bowl, Blood Bowl, Blood Bowl."
And what does your entrance look like? Oh, I'm sorry, Pillar.
As they're setting up the field, Pillar comes over to each of the Vikings, transforms out of his bulldozer form, is aching and all that, and then proceeds to go down the line and headbutt each of them for luck, thus enacting friendship. So the tie is now +2 in case they need help.
I like that. That is
right.
awesome.
All right.
And you are there. Tell me what your entrance, what did the Viking entrance onto this field? Do we hear the immigrant song in the background?
Yeah. Yeah. But before we do that, we had that move.
Yeah, what's the
that
move?
I needed to get? So I think because it was one of the 1980s space sets. So I think it's like a beam me up kind of thing where you can like teleport to another location.
Absolutely. So I think 10 plus, you get exactly where you want to. 7 to 9, you either damage or go off course. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
And what's the other move?
And so I think the other move is just a like a ray gun, like a pew pew pew.
Okay, so you've got a thing that so you can affect things at a distance.
Yeah.
Okay, so they line up in formation. They've got this little plastic football, and they put that down on this vibrating table, and they get ready for Blood Bowl.
Teddy.
Yes.
You've been playing it a little safe with your friends up till now. This is the last game in our tournament. What do you say we raise the stakes a little bit? You're not afraid of a few scratches from a couple of Lego guys, are you?
What are you thinking?
Well, I think that my boys down there would love to just add a little spice to this synchronized swimming match here. They're down there playing Blood Bowl with their bare hands. What if we threw some weapons into the mix?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Huh. You're quicker to agree to that than I thought, Teddy. What if we squash one of your nicely assembled blood bowlers down there?
Toys can be fixed.
All righty then. Let's make it interesting.
And they will go and they will be the big bins of plastic phasers and maces and swords and all that armaments that get poured out onto the sidelines and on the table. It's like Thunderdome, okay? All of that there. So many toy weapons put out there for use. Available for other people. Who knows? We'll see.
I'm imagining there may even be more weapons out there than players.
Yes,
so
many
if
more.
Some additional group of random people ran onto the field, they would have their own share of weapons too. What an interesting concept. Okay.
And you will go to fight. Tell me, do the Vikings win Blood Bowl?
I mean, it's got to come down to the very end, right?
Okay, what's the last?
No matter what. So I think the last play is that the Vikings are down by 2 points, and the Teddy's Blood Bowlers have the ball, and the newly enhanced Thorvald runs at the guy with the ball and basically I'm trying to make this work right, because I want this to actually be this like ambiguous outcome.
Okay.
So that's why I'm thinking the Blood Bowler, the other guys have the ball, but Thorvald like kicks him through the opposing uprights. So the Vikings claim they just scored a field goal. But the other team says, no, we had the ball, so it doesn't count as points for you.
Do you think it will go to sudden death?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is sudden death in Blood Bowl? Is it one-on-one?
I think sure. Let's just go. Yeah.
Okay. So
One-on-one.
Captain Sven, you will go out there and you will see this figure, spikes on him, bladed weapons. They've saved this figure for last. It's a 10-inch NFL player, Peyton the Man. And he has walked out there. They clearly held him in reserve for this. And he stomps and the board shakes as he comes across it. And he will face down with you. Captain Sven, tell me, how is it that you overcome these odds? How is it that you defeat the Peyton?
So I think that so I think they put the ball at the center of the field and we both just run at it from our opposite ends of the field. And I think that because I'm smaller, I actually get there slightly ahead of him and run like right between his legs.
Awesome. Slide, grab it. We see it in slow motion. You grab the football, slide, kind of spins around. He's trying to right himself and stop you, and you kind of keep sliding, and you will go over into the end zone as Michael pointed out, the first time that a Viking has beaten Peyton Manning here, and we'll go through, and the clicks, they still cheer because it's a spectacular display of athleticism, and they're clicking going on and so on, and you'll see Rex Putin stands up and is glowering with anger there. Little teddy eyes, the eyelids, they do mechanically come down to focus a little bit. And what do you say, Bongo?
I'm starting very genially, like, oh, hey, good game. You win some, you'll lose some. And I offer like a hand for a handshake.
And you will see him look around, and he will shout out, "Hey, friends, seize them."
Oh, no need to be a sore loser now, Teddy. A game's a game and fair is fair. Remember?
And you can see those clicks are moving in to clearly obey his orders.
Hold on now, and I'll kind of like be addressing all the clicks here. Are you Are you lot really going to break the rules?
There is a pause there as they kind of catch their breath. So tell me, in that moment, the moment that Bongo kind of stops them from moving, the moment when Teddy is in his fury, how does the revolution break out? What happens? What's the first thing we see on screen? Let's do this as a montage here.
Yes.
Pillar, what's the first thing that we see happen when suddenly everything changes?
Pillar uses his new developed ability to jump and winds up jumping through the air, groaning horribly, transforming into his humanoid form with his blade, and lands right next to Bongo and Teddy, and is holding the sharpened edge of his blade at Bongo, going, "One move and you're not mint."
And what's the next thing that happens? What breaks out there, Seabrick? What's the next stage here?
I mean, I think the Vikings all run over, and it becomes obvious that they've got a lot of miscellaneous scrounged parts making them up.
And that they've stolen these bits and things, so they'll see that the been raided. And what's the next thing that breaks out that happens in this chaos there, Philosophers Guild?
So I think from out of the darkness, we see this wave of the mint toys from the boxes that have been freed, and the misfit toys that help free them come running out of the darkness in this basically just a wave. While the cliques have been fascinated with the great sport, the other boxes have been going around and opening everyone up to free the prisoners,
untying things, letting things loose, and we suddenly, we see revolution, and the shrieks go out, and we'll see things are falling off the shelves, boxes are tearing open, figures coming out. It's the storming of the Bastille, which should appeal to the philosophers, I believe, to some of them at least. And they're going on. And Bongo, you see Teddy kind of steps back, and he looks furious. And Pillar's got that blade up there, and he says, "You think you've won? Well, no. I still have my trump card." Looks at you, Bongo, and he goes, "Bommy!" And you will see pop up from the ship. You'll see, "Hi!" And you'll see this giant bomb come hopping down. Bongo, what do you do?
This guy brought out a bomb. I'm going to have to apply some real-world logic to this situation.
Okay, what is that?
So I think I just go fully deadpan here for a moment.
Okay.
I say, Teddy, that's not a real bomb. It's just a toy. It has no combustive power whatsoever. It's filled with cotton. It has eyes, it can talk. It's not a bomb. It's over, man.
Let's have you roll with smile.
Okay. Oh, that is a 6.
That is a 6. I think Pillar is right there.
All right. Well,
You've got the leverage.
I did warn him if he moved. So I'm just going to give him the slightest cut to show that he's made out of stuffing too, and say, Bongo knows more about how things are than I do, to give him the help.
Let's have you roll, because there is a bomb bearing down on you.
Alright. All right, that is an 8.
So you will give him that slightest cut,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of steps back, and that cape falls away. And you will see that sort of open panel with that tape cassette thing there. And as you kind of hit him, there is that moment, and you'll see he's kind of trying to, distracted by Bongo, and that cassette will pop open, and he will go still. And Bongo, this bomb, comes running up to you and goes, "Should I go off now? Am I supposed to go off now?"
Hold on just a minute, Bommy. I can see you're very excited.
Very excited.
Like your one job, apparently.
That's my one job. I had one job. And Rex Putin is gone still. And all the clicks have kind of stopped. The fighting has kind of quieted down. Watermelon cow.
I want to walk up a little bit closer and kind of inspect his inner workings a bit more.
Okay.
So, like, he has like a tape recorder with like a tape that's been
like a cassette tape with like his instructions on it.
Yeah, I'd love to pull that out and read those closer.
Okay. Do you want to? You can pull it out, and you can see it's got good side, bad side.
Oh, well, wouldn't you know it? I'll just flip it around and shut the door, hit play.
Hi, friend. Who are you?
Hi, friend. Kind of doing some eyebrows, looking for any duplicitous tone of voice here.
I'm Teddy.
Let me ask you something, Teddy.
Okay.
Do you like to play?
I love to play.
That's wonderful news.
And you will look around, and the clicks are all kind of, doing the clapping, and we will see we can see in the distance, we probably see the Philosophers Guild helping pull figures out of boxes. We can see clamshells being opened. We can see the Lego ship being pulled out from a box. Not assembled, though. Luckily, you do have the instructions there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you will see that a new day has dawned here in Collector Town. So let's go to the epilogue, shall we? Let's start with Pillar. Pillar. What do we see after this for Pillar?
Pillar takes a moment to see if actually kind of gets to like some of the aerobots here, and finds out that that's sporty. Guys, yeah, no, all right, they're all right. Sees about helping them out to get them a little bit more mobile, and sees if they're willing to help.
You should stay and be our prime. You can be our prime.
I want you to help me out there. We still have these batteries that is desperately needed in Circus Town. And I want us to all go together. We can all carry some on ourselves and better than these vehicles that we've had to use and get them there.
And they will listen and follow you. A veritable caravan of transformers carrying these goods. What do we see? What is the epilogue for the crew of the Seabrick?
So
immediately aftermath or later on?
Yeah, I think later on, after we finished our delivery, then we come back from time to time for a Blood Bowl rematch because that was just so much fun. And now that nobody's fate is riding on it, we can just play Blood Bowl.
Excellent. They make it an annual tournament, a sort of super Blood Bowl. That they do. That makes sense. The Vikings will remain one of the top contenders. What about the Philosophers Guild, the ones who really were the spark that lit this revolution?
So I think you see this further on in the, it's obviously in the future, a long time in the future, and you see the Philosophers Guild, and you see them talking between some of the toys that were in the collector town and the barter town. Is that the other place we were in?
The collector town. You guys came from, I think, barter town, and then you're heading to Circus.
Oh, to Circus. And we basically set up. You can tell that they're kind of negotiating. They're friends, and there's a path. And then you hear a call for help, and you see Owl, the leader of the Philosophers Guild, and Charles Dickens stand up. And there's another group, and they're kind of worn. They still have those paint spots. Maybe they're burned around the edges a little bit, so they've aged. And then you don't recognize any of the rest of the Philosophers Guild, but they're like one of the Misfits toys is there, and then there's other finger puppets that have joined, and they rush off on their next mission.
All right, to the changing of the Philosopher's Guard. Awesome.
Yes.
And Bongo, what do we see of Bongo in the future?
It's a sort of a dusty afternoon in Circus Town, on the edge of town, and we see Bongo loading up a saddle on a Barbie dream horse, right? And the ringleaders come up and saying, "Are you sure you have to go, Bongo? We could really use you around here, And Bongo's like, "Sorry, but I've got to go see a baby about a horse." We see him put a rubber band crossbow up on the back of the horse, and he kind of hops up there and rides off into the sunset with the last shot of the camera lingering on his arm tattoo. Betty loves Bongo.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael. Thank you guys very much. That's Threadbare. If you have a few minutes, I'd like to do the kind of the stars and wishes. If we could do that, since we go around and we point to things we liked, either about the system or the play or moments, anything like that. And then we'll go through wishes and things you would have liked to see more of, or would have liked to had a chance to lean into those kinds of things. I'm gonna do the same order we just did, just because once I said an order, I like to be consistent in the session. So, Owen, let me start with you. First time I got a chance to play with you, so this was fun.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So
Stars. Okay. So the things I loved were just seeing the interaction for everybody's, the two groups of multiple little guys groups, and how they just were different while still being, obviously they've got the little bits. I enjoyed how that came out differently. Bongo as the sad wise clown was fantastic. I really thoroughly enjoyed that. I liked the stretch bloody benders feel of the hotel. I mean, I was going. I know we're not going to go too creepy, but sure feels like we're going to go there. So I love that part. So yeah, no, it was a joy to play with all of you for the first time. So I'm hoping my schedule works out that I can do that again with any of you anytime coming up here.
Awesome. Yeah, Stentor, things you want to point to as stars?
Yeah, so I love the props that you had. I think this is the first online game I've played in where there's been props. So that was great. And yeah, I feel like everybody really played to their toy type. That it was really, that is the personality that toy should have for all of you.
Yeah, I want to second that. I really, they were all distinctive and felt like once you establish the characters, all of you really hit those beats really well. Steven, stars?
So I really enjoyed the life that all of the toys had in them. The Vikings and Pillar and Bongo were real, had real depth to them. And the same thing's true of all of the NPCs. The Rebellion, Teddy Rasputin, the Abominable Snowman, they all had personalities, and it really brought this story to life.
Good. I'm glad you dug that. Michael, stars?
So I think that one of the most difficult things about GMing is having to embody multiple different characters, right? And we had some players who did that expertly as well. Yeah. But I was blown away by the variety, the depth, and the just the uniqueness of each of your NPCs, their voices, their whole deal, bringing out the props. Every time you brought out a new toy, I was just like over the moon, overjoyed. Everywhere from creepy stretch to I don't stretch no more, and Teddy, Rasputin, everybody was awesome, and your stuttering for the aerobots was inspired, and that's just something that's very inspirational to me. And I'm like, I wish I could do better with that in my games. So I'm going to have to be keeping those folks in mind in the future for sure.
Rich has always said to me that the reason he runs is so he can do silly voices. And there are times like a good session like this that I get where he's coming from on that. So yeah, I love a good voice. And I love a game that allows me to have that opportunity to do that. So let's do though wishes, things you might have wanted to see more of, or had some questions about anything you want to bring up, Owen.
I mean, I want more of the game, but it's a one shot. So right. I mean, that's basically where I'm coming from. So yeah, with that, I didn't get as comfortable with the differences in these rules as I would in something that I've either played more or play a couple more sessions. I was just starting to feel like, okay, I'm getting the groove how this works, and then stopped. Which I knew I signed up for that, but still, if I could, just one more session. But that's about all I have as a complaint on my side.
Okay,
or a wish. Sorry,
I think that's fair. Stentor?
I think the main thing that I've kind of missed out on was more chances to build stuff with Legos. I think because I was a building toy, I kind of was hoping for a little more of that. But again, I know we had a short amount of time to get things in, but it would have been cool to like build some crazy giant contraption out of the Legos. So.
Yeah, if I had planned better, we would have more space for that. So that's a really good point. I should keep that in mind if I do this again and we have characters that are Lego. So that's useful feedback. Steven, anything you want to mention?
So I played Threadbare I think this is my third time playing Threadbare, and I have yet to see the stitchpunk part where you add pieces on and that kind of stuff. And I'm not sure I want to see that, because all of the stories and all the times I played, it's been beautiful. But it makes me very curious, because that seems to be a big theme in looking through the rules.
Yeah, definitely the jury rig move, I think, is where that's at. And because we had more character interaction than we had sort of physical interaction, I think you're right. I think we certainly could have hit more of that. So that's a good point.
Have you seen that? So you said you'd run this as a one shot at cons and stuff like that.
Well, when I ran it at Gen Con Games on Demand in 2-hour slots. So
okay,
we certainly did not see.
So you didn't see any of that,
because I got character creation done in 15-20 minutes, and then we ran, because I had to make that hum to get that done. So yeah, I agree with you. Even when I've run for slightly longer sessions, one shot, that hasn't been a thing that I've seen occur. So that's a good point. And it might be that is maybe a feature of a longer term campaign where now you have this damage. Now, where do you go to get the stuff, and how do you change yourself? How do you upgrade yourself? Because that's also the only way you kind of gain experience, is you add new moves. Which is in fact, we saw that with Pillar and the crew of the Seabrick, but that felt less like Franken-toy and more like logical changes. So that's a good point. Michael, I'm going to give you last word.
Sure. So I will echo what Owen said about would loving more. Like, I think this is a great one-shot, fun, hijinks sort of game. But I really think that there is a lot that is like kind of hiding under the surface that is like just begging to be explored. We've already mentioned some of the different aspects of that. But my wish was going to be I wish that I had been able to kind of hold all the moves in my head a bit better. There are a lot of basic moves. There's not as many playbook moves, which kind of balances that. But it's like there were so many cool options to a story, and I think that sometimes when I am feeling like a little bit at a loss for what to do in a PBTA game, sometimes you just say what you do, and then you find the move. But sometimes if I don't know what to do, I'll look to the moves. And for some reason, when I looked to those today, it just wasn't sparking for me. And that led to some slowdowns and some momentum loss on my part, which was kind of a bummer. So yeah, I like to avoid that in the future, however, by whatever means necessary.
I will say I have them printed, and I kept looking back at them the whole time and going, okay, does this fit here? Does this fit here? These are very different moves that I'm used to, and I don't think they're easy to get at first glance. I think you're touching on something about the game that it has a sort of learning curve that, because the thing is, I think we've talked about this maybe before, is how do you teach PBTA? And I think a good, clean set of basic moves for new players is the easiest entry point. That's what makes certain, like masks kind of works, because there are very few actual basic moves in that.
Right.
So it is a little easier to grok, and there are a few others that do that, like Monster Hearts 2. It's what, 6 moves, I think, for the basic moves in that.
I think so.
Yeah. Whereas this has what, 5, 10, 12. 15, has 17 basic moves on those sheets. Now, some of them are situational, but they're all put together in that way, and I think that's a real challenge.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it's all too easy to sort of lean on the crutch of, well, what do I do? I'll just look at the moves. And I think that this is the sort of game that can help push you to be more on the ball and more reactionary, and what do you do? Like, well, what do I do kind of thing. And that's something I hope I can get more practice with and become more natural with. And I think this is a great game to practice that. So that was a good experience as well.
I definitely will say this has made me want to go back and look at the other campaign frames, because I've always kind of done this because this is such an easy starter scenario. Yeah. So now I'm going to go take a look at those and see what are the campaign possibilities of the ones that are in the book? What are the setups there? So very cool.
I want to play Dented sometime too,
Thank you guys so much. I had a great time running this. I really enjoyed playing with all of you. Some of you for the first time, and others for later times. And I hope to play with all of you again. I would definitely play with all of you again at the drop of a hat. So I will say that. And I'm going to stop the broadcast.